Marking President Yoon's 1 year at the top office, this week we take a look at what the administration has been working on throughout that time. Tonight, it's about diplomacy, with the administration putting much effort into boosting trilateral cooperation with the U.S. and Japan. Our senior foreign affairs correspondent, Bae Eun-ji, takes a closer look at South Korea's efforts to find balance in the shifting global order.
To boost relations with Washington, President Yoon made state visit to the U.S., the first one in 12 years for a South Korean leader. In an address to the U.S. Congress, he stressed that their relationship is stronger than ever. Since taking office, Yoon has also focused on restoring relations with Japan and has resumed the so-called shuttle diplomacy with Japan for the first time in more than a decade. In a cabinet meeting on Tuesday, President Yoon himself praised his policies on foreign affairs and national security, saying those are the fields that changed the most during his first year in office. To strengthen trilateral cooperation with the U.S. and Japan, he also said the leaders of the three countries will hold a summit in Japan next week, on the sidelines of the G7 Hiroshima summit.
지난달 국빈 방미 계기에 합의한 워싱턴 선언으로 한미 간의 대북 확장 억제를 강화한 데 이어 한미일 안보 공조를 통해 영내 평화를 구축하기 위한 연대를 보다 공고하게 해 나갈 수 있을 것입니다.
But as the three countries continue to boost their trilateral cooperation, relations with China and Russia have been deteriorating. Last month, China lodged a protest over President Yoon's remarks to the effect that increased tensions around Taiwan are due to attempts to change the status quo by force. Beijing's Foreign Minister Qin Gang went so far as to warn that those who, quote, play with fire on Taiwan will eventually get burned. Russia also criticized the South Korean leader for saying Seoul would consider arming Ukraine in the event of a major new attack against Ukrainian civilians. In response, the Russian government said South Korea has taken a rather unfriendly position towards Moscow and warned that supplying military aid to Ukraine would signify a certain involvement in the conflict. Assessing Yoon's first year, an expert told Arirang that South Korea had no other option but to focus on strengthening relations with the U.S. and Japan, and that the country needs to have some kind of principle to adjust to this new kind of turbulent world order.
I think it's kind of inevitable at this moment because North Korea has relentlessly developed their nuclear capability, and definitely South Korea needed to enhance their deterrence capability. In that sense, the trilateral security cooperation is one of the few options that South Korea can take at this moment to deter the North Korea's nuclear threat.
He added that now is the time to have strategic ambiguity while having strategic clarity at the same time. Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.